Well, there's just 10 events to go now before the cutoff for the World Grand Prix in Leicester. A really tight race with currently, I think it's 6 players who are within 5,000 pounds of the last spot, and plenty more who are a good run like Mike DeDecker had this past week in Milton Keynes from moving into the field. But how do you assess the race with only 10 events to go before the cutoff?
Well, firstly, I've got to say I was a bit surprised when I was putting together the spreadsheet that there is only 10 events to go now. It seems like we are getting into the final furlongs now, the final few months in this race to get to Leicester. And I was just comparing the provisional field as things stand, comparing it to what we had at the World Match Play last month. And usually there's not too many changes between the two events, and that is the case at the moment. There's only going to be 2 changes as things stand. Andrew Gilding and Christoph Ratajski set to miss out, and coming in are Mike De Decker and Cameron Menzies. And we've just spoken a lot about Mike De Decker, so I'll talk about the other player there, Cameron Menzies, and it would be a debut for him in one of these two landmark events, the Match Play or the Grand Prix. And he wasn't far off in the end from getting into the Match Play, was he, this year? The last event before the cut-off, that Players' Championship, he did have James Wade sweating a little bit. He was in that last spot, but Cameron needed a title to climb above him, ended up just falling short, losing out in the semi-finals. But last week, he had some good runs, 2 quarterfinals in the last 2 events, and the standout win, that 108, almost 109 average against Josh Rock on the Thursday, and Josh would go on to win the title the next day as well. But also back-to-back ton-plus averages on Friday against Wessel Nyman, a first-time finalist on the Pro Tour last week on the Wednesday, and then Gerwyn Price as well, 2 more wins there. And that has helped him build up a decent buffer on 17th place in the Pro Tour list. He's just under $7,000 ahead of Dirk van Dijvenbode. So he's put himself in a very good position to get to the Grand Prix. And just a word on the Obergenius, Dirk van Dijvenbode, because there were signs last week, I thought, in Milton Keynes that his form is coming back. On the Wednesday and the Thursday, played 5 games, and he averaged between 96 and 104 in all the Lem, and he lost to Raymond van Barneveld in the first round on the first day, but the next day picked up 3 wins, got to the last 16, and then Friday come unstuck against friend of the show Reese Griffin on the stream. I think Reese might be Dirk's bogey player. He's beaten him a couple of times now, but what does Dirk do the next day? Puts that disappointment behind him, throws a 115 average against Mervyn King in the Euro Tour qualifiers, and it's the first time that we've seen Dirk play in those qualifiers for the Euro Tours since before the pandemic, which shows you how long it's been and how long he's been established in that Pro Tour top 16 or qualifying for these events. But bar 1 game in those qualifiers, he averaged 95 and above, qualified for both of them, money on the board already for those 2 Euro Tours, and he is already in the other 2, 9 and 10, so he's going to be in all 4 Euro Tours before the cut-off for the Grand Prix, and very, very close to James Wade now for that last Pro Tour spot. So I think he's definitely one to watch out for in this race.
Yeah, I agree that it looks like Dirk van Dijvenbode is coming back into form, and it obviously, it took some time battling through the injuries at the back end of last year for him to find his game again, and it has hurt him, not just literally the injury, but hurt him that it took so long, because I think he lost his confidence even as he got healthy again, because he's missed out on Blackpool already. And there's still a very good chance that he's going to miss out in Leicester. But I think he's too good of a player to miss out again going forward. I think he's moving back in the right direction again. And he, has himself in the race. And I think that's step 1. Getting himself so that he's back in contention to qualify for the majors is key. And the way you do that is what you mentioned. It's winning through those Euro Tour qualifiers, especially since there's fewer spots now. If you're able to win through one of the 2, you've done your job. He won through both of them. He's now in the next 4 Euro Tour events. He's in by right through the Pro Tour Order Merit for 9 and 10, but he's now qualified for 11 and 12. That is going to be key. He already has the qualification money on for 11 and 12. He's going to have to win his first round match to get it for the other 2, but that puts him right there. But that is only half the job, because James Wade is in all 4 of them, and his money hasn't been added yet because he's a Pro Tour qualifier. Same too for someone like Andrew Gilding, who's just outside, Callan Ritz, who's just outside. they will have to win their matches to have that money count. And if they do win their matches, it's immediately 2,500 quid that gets added on. It's a lot of money if you are able to win when you're one of the automatic qualifiers that first match. But there are, I'm not going to talk about my dark horses now because we'll come on to that later, but they're not the only ones that are in that race. Joe Cullen needs to win as well. He's right for the first time in a long time in danger of missing out. And there's other players outside who aren't necessarily in all of them, but are in some of them that are going to be key. Alan Suter, just a few £1,000s out. He's in Euro Tour 10. Cameron Menzies is in two of them. Jermaine Watamina is in two of them. Gabriel Clemens is in two of them. And especially Suter, Menzies, and Watamina are all playing really well. Gabriel Clemens a little inconsistently. If they're able to go on a run, they'll shoot up. But they all have a lot of work to do. It's going to likely be somewhere in the vicinity of £55,000 that you need to qualify. And right now, there's only 11 people on the Pro to Order merit there. Mike Decker is almost there. Joe Cullen, a couple of wins in Euro Tour events in his first match will get him there. For everyone else, though, there is still a lot that needs to be done. And winning a Players' Championship event or reaching a final or making the semifinal Euro Tour can really start to throw things up for grabs. It's a very tight race and a very difficult race to predict right now because of that. And I'm certainly looking forward to seeing how it develops.